Finster was the alien, dog-like henchman that assisted Rita Repulsor and Lord Zed in creating various kinds of monsters to help attack Angel Grove and the Power Rangers. He is known as the Demon Artist, but what happened to him? Let's find out. Before we start, my friends, I would just like to point out that only about 15% of the viewers of this channel recently have actually subscribed. That's obviously depressingly low, so if you're enjoying the content I'm creating and want more Power Rangers videos, then please hit that subscribe button. It only takes 1 second and it really helps the channel out. Thanks a lot. So the main backstory we have for Finster comes from the comic books. So let's start with that. He was an alien sculptor from the planet Cladius, at least I think that's how it's pronounced, who began to get bored with regular life on his home planet. He started to see beauty in the grotesque and would just create monstrous beast statues and caused havoc in his village with fires, taking pleasure in the anguish of others. He had a wife named Plepra who was horrified to discover her husband was the one responsible for all of the suffering amongst the other villagers. When she threatened to expose him as the mastermind behind it all, he grabbed her and in the struggle she fell backwards, hitting her head on a table, dying. Enter Rita Repulsor. Seeing Finster's potential in creation and taking advantage of his guilt and twisted thoughts, she supplied Finster with a magical clay that would bring his creations to life, giving him a platform to demonstrate his art. So he joined Rita as the creator of her monsters. In his spare time, he would use the clay to try and replicate Plepra. However, her will to stop him was too strong. Later, he, along with Rita and her other henchmen, were caught by Zordon and were put into imprisonment via a space dumpster. After 10,000 years, they were freed by a couple of curious astronauts. During the first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Finster was primarily responsible for creating the monsters and putties that battled the Rangers, although this function actually fell to Lord Zed after his first appearance. So Finster created these monsters by sculpting them out of clay and then cooking them in a special machine in his workshop called the Monster-Matic. Not only is he skilled at supplying monsters and henchmen for his leaders, but he is also a skilled alchemist, potion maker and inventor, supplying many kinds of potions and gadgets. He's also brilliant and provides general support and wisdom for both Rita and Zed. Following Lord Zed's return, Finster is suddenly made obsolete. Zed made his own monsters, though after Parantis Head was destroyed, Finster commented that he could have done much better. Finster was also the one responsible for creating a love potion that Rita used to make Lord Zed fall in love with her and resume her former position as leader. He was also the one that suggested that Alpha 5 be used in delivering the message of evil, as Rita called it, and the one to insert the virus that actually turned him evil. So later, following the return of Rita, he became a primary monster maker once again. In the third season and the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers miniseries, Finster was back to making monsters. His love potion was also revealed to Goldar. Finster was just as surprised as anyone to find out that Zed actually did love Rita naturally. Then at the start of Power Rangers Zeo, Finster joined Zed and Rita in fleeing the oncoming forces of the Machine Empire after they assaulted the Moon Palace with their quadrifighters. Finster was still working for Zed and Rita in Power Rangers in Space and was present during their battle with the Gold Ranger during the events of Countdown to Destruction, though his fate was not revealed since he was not present when the energy wave hit, and it would take 20 years to discover what actually happened to him. It took until the release of the Power Rangers Soul of the Dragon comic book for us to have an answer. Now, I know many of you don't consider anything in the comic books canon, but as it is an official release from the owners of the Power Rangers franchise, and it does not contradict anything that comes before it, I absolutely consider this book canon. So what happened to Finster? Well, along with Rita, Zed and Divatox, he too was purified, and actually became an ally of sorts to the Rangers. Why he was purified is never really made clear, but it was probably because he was not maliciously evil, and more of a chaotic neutral, simply being a misguided but loyal sculptor. In the 25 odd years since the end of the United Alliance of Evil, he had retained his position as a sculptor, although he was making humanoid molds instead of monsters. He was visited by Tommy Oliver and friend Anara when they were trying to discover out the nature of a crystal And it was actually his finding that helped them discover that Scorpina was behind the recent influx of guns. However, he was later murdered by Scorpina once she discovered that he was working with Tommy, although he did leave one final message via a sculpted version of himself, which apologised for his past misdeeds, whilst reassuring Tommy that he would be able to save JJ Oliver, his son, before turning to dust, marking the end of this master sculptor. I will be honest, upon my first reading of this story, despite him being for the most part a villain, I felt pretty sad when he was killed, especially in the way in which it was presented. It's a really great story and I highly recommend checking out that comic book for yourselves. But there we have it guys, that is what happened to Finster, the greatest sculptor who ever lived. Before we go guys, I want to of course mention our friends over at Angel Grove Collectibles. If you are into collecting Power Rangers stuff, whether it be Lightning Collection figures or even older, harder to find things, you can most likely find them over at angelgrovecollectibles.com. If you do head over, use the code 6thRanger10 for 10% off your order. They're an Australian-based company, but they ship worldwide, so go and check it out. I can promise you, you will not be disappointed. Before we go, I would like to say thank you to our patrons and channel members for your support. It means the world to me, and I cannot wait to get started on the live action content for you guys. Thank you all so much for watching today. I hope you have a great day. May the power protect you, and I will see you next time on the 6th Ranger.